Yeah, I just want to say thank you for meeting with us. This is a bit of a first. So my first question, Superintendent, is why didn't last night's school board meeting conclude?
Yeah, so first of all, we're actually be putting out a statement pretty soon. So there was a variety of threats that were flowing in during the meeting as well. Threats to staff, threat to board's members. There was also a discussion about violence and other threats being overheard in the lobby. And so my job as a superintendent is to supervise this building and make sure that the people in this building are safe. So the board, they run the meeting. It's a meeting of the board in public, but the ultimate decision from my perspective was to continue it, means shut it down, and then make sure that staff were able to exit from all the different areas. They weren't feeling safe. People weren't feeling safe. It spilled over into the scenario now where some of our own children are receiving threats and specific threats. Family members are being called. And it all started, honestly, with the actions and behavior of one teacher, and then the fact that for whatever reason, the approach that you all took on Friday to try to reach us was, you know, I guess it's normal Project Veritas approach, but it isn't a traditional approach. You would agree with that, right?
What approach would you speak
Oh, well,
about?
walking in with cameras and microphones as opposed to
Is that what took
setting
place?
it up. Well, I mean, I've seen your video,
Well,
so
what's
yeah.
If I can inform you, what's not on video is our attempt to get the principal of Indoctrination High School.
Yes, no,
to view
I'm
the video.
absolutely aware
Do you know why
that
that's
you
not-
you went to the school site. So I'm here to meet with you to
are
have
aware
this.
or unaware?
I am aware
Okay, gotcha,
that you
gotcha,
went to
gotcha.
the school site. So so talk to me about. So first of all, is there any way we're going to get access to the whole video that's in place?
We can talk about that a little bit later. If I
Well,
can
I mean, I'd love to talk about it now.
Absolutely.
You think it's a possibility at least?
There, in the past, I believe there has been instances in which Project Veritas has released the entirety of footage.
Fantastic.
Unedited.
We'd love that. Just like I know this is a first.
But keep in
That would be
mind,
nice if we were able to do
You
that.
know, on media interviews, all media videos are edited and packaged. Everything you see on media is edited. It's produced and edited. So what we do is
Ours
undifferent-
won't be today.
So
We'll
what we
just
do-
we'll just put it up and
What we
publish
do
it
is
all.
undifferent than any other media organization, but that can certainly be discussed. But I do want to get back to the approach that we used to alert the district
Sure.
of what was taking place. We did go to Indocrination High School, not recording. We asked,
So no cameras on, no microphones.
no sir.
Okay.
Correct. And we attempted to get an interview, we attempted to show the footage to the principal, and we
Okay.
attempted to get an interview at that point, and they advised us they did not want to see the video, and they advised us to go to the school district.
So did you announce yourself as a media organization?
Yes, I did.
So they got nervous, probably.
Well, I
And-
did also announce that
and
it
that's
was
not- I'm not saying that's your
I
fault.
also did announce that it was a video of a safety concern
Sure.
to students and to the school.
Sure.
So the video could have been of an imminent danger. It could have been even more of an imminent danger than what
Well,
we showed.
hopefully you would have called the police
and
if there
given-
was imminent danger, I would hope.
Absolutely, but given the
Okay,
hands-off
awesome.
approach, would you say that you're happy with the accountability that you witnessed from the release, in which no one's kind of willing to see the video and law enforcement was called?
Oh, I would
Would you say that
have,
that's-
I would have absolutely preferred that there was, through the multiple ways that myself and other leaders are accessible, that if there was, in this case, it wasn't imminent, but it certainly was a situation that obviously I deemed not safe for students emotionally, because the teacher's been placed out and is going to be fired. I would have wished there was a different approach. And in fact, on an everyday basis, we have a constituent and customer service office that serves our families, our students, and community in a variety of ways. So it is, all I can say this is how it all came together is very unusual than often how concerns are brought and expressed to us. So I think we'll agree to disagree, but say either way, it didn't go down the way we wanted.
I actually don't
and
think we
then,
disagree.
and
I
then,
don't think we disagree. I agree
okay.
that our
What do you?
approach is unusual.
Okay, thank you.
And I think there's a reason why we
Okay.
have an unusual approach. I mean, we're a nonprofit organization,
Mm-hmm.
which is a difference than most media organizations which
Uh-huh.
operate for profit.
Uh-huh.
And given that a lot of students complained about Mr. Geip in the past, and given that
To whom?
And given that it seems at this school district that there's kind of a...
Seems or we know? Because
Well,
I'm actually, part of our meeting with you today, I am very much looking forward to, and of course, I'm not here to find out who complained. That's not here nor there. I'm grateful in the end that the information came to us so we could take action.
So you are
But
happy that we ultimately did expose this?
I am happy that it came our way, and since it came through you, I have to say, thank you for bringing it to us. I wish it would have been brought to us in a different way. But I do want to know, last night I heard like parent, student, and now I'm hearing multiple complaints. We've checked our records, and as of now, we can't find those complaints. We can't find them through our email system. We can't find them through our constituent and customer service office. I don't want any names, but if you've seen, I'm assuming as a media organization, you've done your due diligence and fact finding, and you've at least seen what appears to be appropriate images or have copies of these efforts to communicate. I would love to see those, because I need to know where our system may have failed our students, and we need to fix it.
So you are interested in fixing the system?
Oh, absolutely.
Because I would say one of the reasons why
Let me also say, fixing it where it's broken.
Understood.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons we approach things the way we do is because oftentimes the system never fixes itself, right? So do you think that this kind of thing would have been exposed had it not been for Project Veritas? I mean, how did the school district, how did the school and the school district, how were they not aware of Mr. Geip's
Well, let me give you an example of how we handled things before. So my first year here, it was right around the time of Sandy Hook. And there was a series of incidents, including one student who was riding a bike and had a gun in the back of his pants. A driver saw it, reported to police. The student attempted to escape. The student wasn't in class. Attempted to escape through one of our schools, and then threw the weapon over a fence. Days later, there was a BB gun on campus, and here's how I handled it. I called the Sacramento Bee, and I said, listen, between the Sandy Hook, the gun the other day, you're going to hear about it, so I'm telling you what happened. What questions do you have? And they were able to answer things like, ask questions, I was able to answer them. How we're handling it, what we're doing for safety. So I get that your approach is unique. In this situation, in this case, we're someone who, as you can tell, you said this is a first, we'll sit down and have conversations. Our primary focus is to make sure our students are first. And if something is broken, we'll absolutely take a look at it. So what you're hearing from me is we operate differently. And as people can communicate to us with all the systems we have, we absolutely do talk about it. And I promise you, in this community, if and when, and seeing all the stuff that we saw and the investigation that still in some elements is ongoing, looking into this teacher and behavior, so the case gets stronger and stronger, I would have done the exact same thing I did without Veritas being there. Would it have been in 2 days? Probably would have been in 3 or 4. If I'm being completely honest. But by 2 days in,
hasn't happened yet. I mean, this has been going on since 2019.
Yeah,
If I may,
you are right.
the school
2019
district put out a statement that said that they did 25 site visits to Mr. Geip's classroom.
We did,
And that they
yeah.
never noticed anything.
Yeah.
And that no one never noticed anything. Well, even in the
Well,
YouTube
it wasn't.
video,
It wasn't
if I may
like.
continue,
It
the
wasn't
YouTube-
like no one ever
well,
done
if I may,
anything.
The YouTube
Yeah.
video, Tiger Talk, which is a school newspaper from Indoctrination High School.
A
they posted
digital
video,
production
and
company.
in there, you can see the flag of Mao. You can see the
Yeah.
decor of the classroom.
Yeah.
So, I mean, is it just a negligent issue, or is your position still currently today that there is not anyone from the school district that was aware of Geip's political ideology and the way that he was attempting to indoctrinate students into his personal beliefs?
Yeah, I will say that there was no one at the site that was aware that the class was as imbalanced and as biased as it was. And I'll walk you through. Actually, it goes back to 2018, your year off. In 2018, he had a poster up that was missed by administration. When I had the document sent to me as my team investigated, former history social studies teacher, I saw Prop 10. It was a sign, anti-Prop 10, vote no, or actually vote yes. I believe it was the rent control in California, but don't quote me on that. And it wasn't one of those traditional signs where you see the circle and the slash mark, but yet it was still a political sign. And the photo was actually of a learning objective, as the teacher was talking about the Declaration of Independence. And so, as a former history social studies teacher and superintendent, I was able to go, oh, we missed this. So it actually goes back to 2018 that we missed that.
Gotcha.
What I can also tell you is that through receipts and things we've tracked, we've been able to identify that the posters were additive over time. I do believe the Mao one was there at least 2019. And
what do you think about that personally?
Absolutely disappointed in the way it was approached and handled. Because if anything, we should be teaching the approach about what kind of individual he was, not to be idolized or to push towards that ideology, but to teach students about the history and the deaths that he was responsible for. So a poster, in a way that it appeared to me to look like recognition of somebody, should have been in a format where it clearly articulated, maybe here's the different kind of leadership, and basically, in simple terms, there's a bad guy. Right?
Understood.
Yeah.
I want to get back to what you said about gun violence. I understand that as a superintendent, you have a lot of challenges. And obviously gun safety is one of those challenges, but I think the media is always interested in that. And I think that that's something that it's a no-brainer for schools to get a hold of. Teachers teaching outside of the curriculum is something that school districts don't generally investigate. They don't generally hold their teachers accountable to that. You heard many comments last night from teachers discussing why their daughter was getting a personality test.
From teachers or parents, I mean?
From parents, excuse me. Discussing why, you heard many comments last night from parents.
I heard a couple about personality tests and things.
Personality tests were being administered in history.
Sure.
And why certain, so I guess the question is, are you going to take, or is the district going to consider taking a more introspective approach to handling how teachers are teaching outside of the curriculum? Or is there perhaps some hesitancy given the power that teacher unions, kind of have in the space of education reform?
Yeah, I don't have much hesitancy when anything is good for kids, and neither does this district. I would say this, like if you and I were to spend more time together, and if we were not to hit it off, and if we were, I think there's a possibility, maybe if we did with a larger group, doing a personality profile to understand how we all learn better and process better is helpful. But I also actually did one of those with my cabinet my first year here, and I had a cabinet member who said, I'm not comfortable doing this. What we have to recognize, and one of the things I think we can do with our teachers all the time, is recognize that some students aren't comfortable doing that kind of thing, and there has to be a non-threatening opt-out option and opportunity so that students aren't genuinely worried about what their grade's going to be if they choose to not do something that is designed to create a team culture in the classroom. I don't know if any of you have played sports. I'm a former sports coach. Before the body all went to hell, right? I was an athlete, and so the idea of building a concept of team in a classroom is really important. But that sometimes doesn't come across correctly, and sometimes you have young teachers who have been who've seen something that they like, and as they're trying to implement it, they just don't implement it well. In the case of this teacher, that was something different. This was a biased instruction designed to lead students to a specific ideology. In fact, in talking with students, some students were able to tell us, he said that I'll be more left when I leave this classroom, after asking them in an uncomfortable position where they didn't feel they could opt out, to publicly post where they felt where they were on the ideological spectrum. Completely inappropriate. That's where we have a trust. Our teachers, and most of them do a wonderful job of it, have a trust between the students and families that when it comes in particular to history, social studies, that we're not going to cross the line and we're not going to teach our individual ideologies and try to convince students to go a specific way. It is clear that's what happened. So I've apologized. I'm apologizing here again. That should not have happened. And we should have caught it earlier. And there were those walkthroughs. And we need to work on how we, when we're in classrooms, we're walking the walls with our eyes and asking questions. We already have a number of teachers that are asking right now, like, okay, what's right? What do I need to do? So it spurred on a dialogue. We had Ed Center staff, we had parents on campus today, because sadly, as a result of the approach that was taken, hate messages are now being sent to our student groups and students.
So you mean
and sorry, if you just let me finish. And other things are happening, threats to students and student groups.
Right.
From outside folks, some of them based on ideology, some of them based on race, that is putting students in a place of fear.
Are you surprised that such a thing would happen after?
Oh, no, I mean, am I surprised that there's racism in this country? Absolutely not.
No, I mean.
But I'm disappointed.
I mean, when, obviously this is national news. There's a lot of eyes, there's a lot of things being said. I believe hate speech and threats are common for just people who are in the public. Unfortunately.
And you're okay with that?
I believe the internet space is very toxic.
But you're okay with that?
No, I never said that.
No, I'm asking you, are you okay with that?
The internet space is toxic?
I would agree absolutely that social media and, that they are toxic. But I'm asking, do you think that's okay that kids?
Absolutely not.
Okay, thank you.
But,
I appreciate that,
but
Mr.
you
Maxwell.
continue to say because of the approach that was taken.
Yeah, I do.
So, like, if we didn't take our approach, you would have never found out.
Oh, hey, I'll be honest. I mean, people.
I mean,
you think that was the only way?
I mean,
I know people that know Mr. Okeefe, and that's how we were able to reach out to your number, because we emailed multiple times today to reach out and connect, and we weren't getting calls back. There are so many ways, in the capital of Sacramento, to get a hold of me and say.
It's so good to reach out and email and call and not get a call back, does it?
Well, I don't.
There were a lot of parents here yesterday who had that exact same.
And as I've said, if you have those, I really want to see them, my friend, because that means there's a flaw in our system.
They were all here last night.
Well, just because if you think the internet is toxic, do you think that everyone who will speak and share are telling the totality of truth?
I don't know what that means.
I did not. So you were here last night. How many parents said, I reached out about this teacher's class and didn't get a call? Because we have it on video. We can go back and track. In fact, Deidre, if you'd go back and track so that I don't speak out of turn, I'd like you to watch that time and find out how many specific parents said that they reached out regarding this teacher. I know there was references about a parent and a student reaching out and there was no response. I'm repeatedly have said, we've looked through our whole email system, and we've met with our constituent and customer service office staff who tracks that. In fact, we report communications to that office, to our board of trustees twice a year, including just a few weeks ago, where we talk about what are the growing trends, what are the growing issues, and then how do we need to adjust our district based on that. We haven't found those communications. If you have them, please cut out the names so there's no worry about accidentally redacting something that can be removed. I want to see where, was it at the school site the system went wrong? Was it our constituent customer service that didn't respond? Was it our 24-hour customer service hotline that we have 7 days a week, 365 days, that is available for families to call and say, I want to confidentially say that I have a teacher that I don't like, and and he's doing this, and it's not my kid, it's someone else. We don't have any messages from that agency to say that exists too. So I'm saying that we've checked all these multiple systems we have in the Thomas to try to be safety nets, and we don't have it. So if Project Veritas does, please, whatever you feel is comfortable to remove the student's and family's name, I don't want to know that. Show me where the errors are so I can help make our district better.
I understand. These threats that you've continued to allude to.
Would you like me to read one?
Absolutely.
Okay, so whether you censor this or not, I'm just gonna go ahead. Well, it's gonna be on ours, so I will censor
I was just hoping
it.
to.
You cowards, we will not allow this BS to continue. Do not show your face in our community. You will not be welcomed. We will go to your homes and make you feel as uncomfortable as our children felt in that class. You left like an effing coward. All of you know, and I mean every single one of you, need to resign immediately, or you will not know what peace is. We want you out of our community. We want you out of Sacramento. Your lives are about to become a nightmare until you all resign. You've been warned. That's the adult one. Here's the interesting spot. The emails that people put together. They forget that the internet.
What else do you have?
I'm sorry. The internet's pretty easy to track. This is a person from Indiana. right? Well, we have multiple ones, and you know.
Can you read another one? If I'm honest with you, that sounds like something a congresswoman said a few years ago about other members of Congress and members.
Yeah,
of
no one I voted for.
Right. I mean.
Yeah, no one I voted for.
I'm just saying that doesn't sound. You know. Do you have anything else?
Oh, I have a ton, but I'm not going to go back and print them all up now while you're waiting.
Do you have
so.
anything that's like an imminent threat of violence? This person seems to be talking about making someone feel uncomfortable, in fact, just as uncomfortable as Mr. Guy made students feel. I mean, there is something about you won't see peace, but there doesn't seem to be anything, I think, actionable.
Becoming a nightmare?
I don't think there seems to be anything actionable for.
So your definition of a threat is something that has to be actionable with the time and date and location or something like that?
I'm just saying my opinion of what a threat is based upon what the penal code definition of what would be a threat of violence, which is a threat of imminent violence and the ability to carry it out. You're saying it's a guy from Indiana saying...
Well, we were able to track this one. We can't track them all.
Do you have any more threats that you can read to me?
I have a ton of threats.
Okay.
Yeah, but right now, I'm not going to, I mean, I printed one out for you. I'm not going to go back and talk about them.
Well,
but
there's just been
let's put it this way.
There's been lots of allusions to threats, and if I may, the implication is that the school board is hiding behind the idea of threats instead of being accountable for what many parents believe are negligence.
So the school board having a public meeting last night when we knew people were coming, when under the law in California they could have gone virtual, is that hiding? Oh, I don't.
A guy in Indiana that doesn't even sound. I mean, do you want to see Project Veritas list of threats? I mean, it sounds a little more threatening than that. But
yeah, well, I have more, but as I've said, I'm here to talk. And to let you know, I don't think that people being in a public meeting when California law would have allowed them to go virtual last night is hiding behind anything. I think they were there in public space as were us. And so I guess we'll agree to disagree on that. And I'll say this, if you receive threats or anyone in Project Veritas, I'm sorry for that. That shouldn't happen, and that's equally not as right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, I do want to get back to some of the discourse
Please,
you mentioned.
go
You said
for it.
there's been an ongoing discourse about certain practices. A lot of parents alluded to an instance of maybe other teachers, based upon the own statements Mr. Guy made about other teachers who are along his lines.
Yes, I heard that, and I saw the video.
Will the school be taking any steps to investigate that?
Investigate's a word that I keep hearing. We're absolutely looking at a variety of things. You know what would be wonderful? Because before the video came out, obviously, thank you for the heads up Monday. Whoever, I think it was Mario. Are you Mario? Whoever Mario was, thank you for the heads up that it was coming. And then the idea, we spoke with Mr. Gipe, I think via Zoom, and said, hey, these are the words that we've been said, that you've been told as it's coming out. I believe his perspective was, when he talked about others, the question, I don't know, who was the parent? Were you the one pretending to be the parent, the interested parent that Mr. Gipe met with? He met with someone, we have an email.
He met with a colleague.
He met with a colleague, okay.
Yeah.
What was his name, Mr.? Nothing. Okay, that's talking about hiding behind stuff. So he hid behind he hid behind the idea that he was a potential parent. Why Mr. Gipe took the meeting and was that casual and unprofessional, I have absolutely no idea. What he told us was that he was asked by the person from Florida who was moving out, who ended up being a Project Veritas undercover person, that they were very frustrated with their child's education in Florida because a lot of the teachers stood and lectured and did things like that, and they wanted something different. And so Mr. Gipe explains that he talked about engaging students. And when the undercover alleged parent said, are there other teachers that do that kind of engagement, and is it like, or more stand and deliver, that his comments were, yes, there's a couple in his department that do the student engagement. He's talking more about instructional strategies and pedagogy. I don't know if that's truthful or not, because I've seen the video, it's awful. The only people that can help us know what the truth is is Project Veritas to let us know what the video is. And that will absolutely help drive what our next steps are. If you let us have access to that full video, and he says there are 2 other people that are communists and teaching it to the kids, you better bet that I'm going to dig in a lot deeper. But what I need to understand is, was he telling the truth that night? Because that night, he came clean on almost everything. I'm a communist, I'm a part of Antifa, and yes, I do teach it in my classroom. Ooh. Right? So what I'm really looking for is any help you can provide that'll help us determine the scope of our next steps. That would be super helpful.
Of course.
And thank you for saying earlier that you would consider it. That is appreciated.
Would you be willing to, I guess my next question is, would you be willing to at some point have a sit-down interview with Mr. James Okeefe himself?
I'm not ruling that out. I'll be honest right now, my biggest priority, I've spent most of today talking with media. I think that's my responsibility. But I would like to, in the short term, get back to students. But I won't rule that out. I've seen him online now, and I won't rule it out. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, sounds good.
Just like I promised you last night that I would meet with you. Here we are, right? I say what I mean, and I mean what I say. Not everyone will like it, but I guess the people have best described me as authentic. Not always right, but I am who I am, and I respect that you came today, and came here to follow through with it, because it would have been just as easy to he wouldn't talk to us after and walk away, and you didn't do that. So thank you.
No, of course. I'm just doing my job. I love my job. I know that you love your job too.
I do.
And you have quite a career in education. You've been around for a while. You've done different things. You've learned a lot. That's how you got to be superintendent. I guess my last question really is do you really believe Mr. Geip is an aberration? Or do you believe that there is a litany of teachers all across the districts, maybe even all across California and the country, who attempt to indoctrinate students with their political beliefs?
Yeah.
It's generally lean left. Teaching is generally a general left-leaning activity.
You got data on that? Because I can't say. I mean, most of the retired teachers or former teachers who spoke last night made clear that they weren't. I don't know if that's always fair to say that. I'll say this. I think that our country has a variety of professions and careers, and every career is a representation of our country. And that's why it's so important for teachers to make sure that when they are teaching our students and supporting our families, that they don't cross that line, that they make sure that they keep the trust, and they're not there to put their ideology on to any students, that they're there to teach facts, critical thinking skills, and allow families and students to have the conversations that eventually leads to their own decisions about what their beliefs and values are going to be. So I don't think education is much different than other professions. It represents our country. Okay?
Definitely. So
Thank you.
You definitely don't believe there are other Geips, definitely not in your school district. You've not seen, you've not heard.
Oh, I just told you I think that all careers represent the representation or look at like representation of our country.
Academia is an industry dominated by a certain kind of ideology. I think if people were being honest, they would say that. If you take a look at the Natomas School District Facebook page, last night there was a parent who indicated she attempted to share the release. When a parent asked about the video, a parent wanted to see the video, another parent shared it, and it was deleted by a school board member.
Oh yeah, that wasn't that. That is
deleted by a school board member who was there
that
last
is a
night.
private Facebook page that it is not managed or run by Natomas Unified staff.
Well, it's moderated by a school board member who was there last night. And
But you started by saying a Natomas
Right.
Unified Facebook page. That is not Natomas Unified's Facebook page. And of
So
course
you're saying
from
since it's a private page, a personal page that a lot of school board folks are in, but it's managed by a school board member.
well, it's a private Facebook page.
So the content of school
and
board
so
members' private?
Well, in terms of that, you'd have to ask school board members what they think about holding their own Facebook page and what's tied to that. I can tell you that was not Natomas Unified's Facebook page, and as you can see, when the video came out, we haven't attempted to avoid anything. We've leaned into the conversation. We've investigated. We're meeting with you. I say that's transparency. Sounds good? Thank you much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.